Hi, this is Rich Girard. As you know, our mission here at Girard at Large is to connect local people, places, and things by bringing you news from our own backyard. Did you know that GoffstownToday.com has a similar mission? So when we want to know what's happening in Goffstown, Ware, Dunbarton, or New Boston, we go to GoffstownToday.com.
Hi, this is Bill Wynn, publisher of GoffstownToday.com. If it's happening in Goffstown, Ware, Dunbarton, or New Boston, even in Pinardville, you can find out about it on GoffstownToday.com. If we know about it, you should too.
Give a big warm welcome to my brother, your brother, Jack Kimball. Get ready to rumble. I want everyone to say hello to my wife, Donna Marie. She's here today. She's behind me over here under the tent. Round of applause for Jeff Chittister, a real true patriot in New Hampshire. Susan Olson for putting this event on. This is absolutely wonderful. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be honest, storm clouds are on the horizon. We have a president that just recently, of course, he's already done this, but this president gave himself permission to assassinate by drone American citizens without any due process whatsoever. Tyrants! Of course, it's supposed to be in other countries, but it's not a big leap to have it start happening here in the United States of America. Question: why is the Department of Homeland Security placing orders for up to 1.8 billion rounds of hollow point ammunition? For target practice? No. I think not. We know the day is coming. 7,000 M16s also ordered by the Department of Homeland Security. And the IRS. Private camps. Let's talk about Fast and Furious for a second. Cover up. This president, as far as I'm concerned, should have been impeached a long time ago. This administration was behind Fast and Furious. Eric Holder, our Attorney General, was behind this. To think for a minute that our own government would set up a scam to entrap law-abiding gun dealers in America is beyond the pale. And yet these weapons, purchased by an intermediate, wound up in the hands of drug dealers, murderers, kidnappers, killers, and actually wound up killing hundreds of innocent men, women, and children in Mexico, including one of our own border guards. We can't find out any information. Congress doesn't get any, and what happens? Eric Holder has to be subpoenaed. Our own Attorney General has to be subpoenaed to testify. He doesn't, and our president gives him executive privilege, which he is not entitled to. Benghazi. I'm not going to go into all of it. You're out here, been out here a long time, but I can assure you that what has been going on there and the scandals are dead. Hillary Clinton doesn't seem to think it makes any difference anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been providing weapons to the Muslim Brotherhood rebels who are also immersed with Al-Qaeda. Last I knew, aiding and abetting the enemy is what? Absolutely. And yet, nobody in Congress will take the step to start impeachment proceedings against this president. Coward! Sandy Hook was a tragedy. All of us watched. I'm sure many of you, like myself, with tears in our eyes after what happened there with those children and the brave teachers that were in that school. But sadly, from the get-go, from day one, this president took the advice of Rahm Emanuel, and he did not let a good crisis go to waste. Dead fish wrong! He politicized this, used the children as props in following days to try to further his ideology. This isn't about the safety of the children. No, it's about Barack Obama's ideology which means, quite frankly, that he has to disarm America. He can't accomplish his goal to bring us completely to our knees. He cannot defeat us as long as we are armed. It cannot happen. This man has proven that he doesn't care about our Constitution, and he certainly doesn't care whether or not the legislation that Dianne Feinstein has submitted passes or not, because he intends to take action unilaterally. 23 executive actions already taken, directly infringing upon our Second Amendment rights. By the way, that also is a violation of his the oath of office that he took to protect and defend the Constitution. So he's already violated that oath multiple times. Throw him out. Any violation of the Second Amendment and our right to keep and bear arms puts all of us at risk. We are the ones that are at risk. If you want to protect the children, I have the Jack Kimball 4-step plan. It's really pretty simple. Hope you all agree with it. Number one, step one, abolish gun-free zones in America. The last 50, with the exception of the Gabby Giffords event, multiple murders in this country occurred in gun-free zones. It's a neon light, an advertisement for nut jobs to come and kill as many innocent people as they possibly can because they know no one is going to be there to confront them. That's right. Step two, arm and train willing teachers. The operative word is willing. I don't think they should be forced, but willing teachers. The principal of Sandy Hook was extraordinarily brave. She ran out of the office to run down the hall and confront this man and lost her life doing so. But she didn't have a weapon. He went into her office and killed another 3 people and then broke into a classroom, and a 26-year-old, very brave young teacher cradled one of the students, but this man killed her and 20 other children. None of them had a weapon. None of them had the ability to defend themselves. We have to wake up. There's evil in the world. It isn't going to go away. We need to be able to defend the children. That's how to do it. Step 3. You put a sign outside the schools, entrances and exits. And the sign says, warning, if you plan to harm our children, you will be met with deadly force. Teachers are armed and trained. I have 2 granddaughters that go to the Rochester school system. They're in elementary school. They have the same security system as Sandy Hook. My 13-year-old granddaughter, day after, came to my house. She said, hey, Papa, we have the same system. It didn't stop that guy. He shot right through the door, came in. And she said, but I was thinking before this ever happened, when we have our lockdown drills, what happens when we're in the corner of the room with the door locked if somebody breaks in with a weapon? And I asked her, I said, well, what do you think? What do you think you ought to be doing? She says, well, for me, I'm going to go out the window. Yeah. And I said, but you're on the 2nd floor. She said, I know. This is a 13-year-old. She was thinking about these things. This is before Sandy Hook happened. And I said, well, what do you think? She said it to me. I think teachers should have a weapon. I think they should be able to take these people out before they do any harm to us. This is a 13-year-old, ladies and gentlemen. I was on the floor of the House and spoke against a couple of the crazy bills the Democrats are putting up a couple days ago. And I heard the Teachers Association, 3 union reps come up and talk about, guns don't belong in schools. Bad people with guns don't belong in schools, but by God, good people with guns belong in schools. That's how you protect the kids. Step number 4. Divert money from some of these absolutely ridiculous entitlement programs. 99 weeks of unemployment, 50 million people on food stamps, and on and on and on. Divert some of that money and focus it on mental health issues. Let's be honest, that's a big part of what the problem is. Almost every one of these shooters has some kind of mental defect. It's not their fault in many instances, but all we're doing is providing them with mind-altering drugs to try to solve the problem. It's not going to solve the problem. We have to spend more time on that, but not come after us, law-abiding citizens and gun owners, because crazy people are out doing these things.
You're here.
I have a message for the mainstream media today. I am ashamed of all of you. So much blood and treasure has been expended on your behalf so that you will have freedom of the press in this country. And you are abusing that privilege. You are abusing the freedoms that have been granted to you by your alignment with an administration that is tearing this country apart. What has ever happened to objective journalism? Your job is to report the news objectively. Who cares what side of the fence you're on? You let America know what the truth is, and let us decide what happens. The chips have to be let to fall where they may. Whatever happened to investigative journalism? We're people who would, and this used to be 30, 40 years ago when I was younger, you would get a journalist like a dog with a bone go after a story and find out the truth. They should be all over Benghazi. They should be all over Fast and Furious. They shouldn't be backing up this administration. There are people in the media, though, that deserve our respect and deserve recognition. So I want to give a shout out to Glenn Beck. I want to give a shout out to Sean Hannity, to Rush Limbaugh, to Laura Ingraham, to Mark Levin. These people are holding back the tide. And by God, without them, we wouldn't know a lot of the truth. And I don't know if you listen to them or not, but believe me, if you don't, you should. At least give them an opportunity. Get on your radio and listen to some of them speak, and you'll see that these people have done their homework. They're telling you the truth. And they're the ones, quite frankly, that are helping this country try to overcome this radicalness. Registration and confiscation are coming. I didn't believe what I read 2 weeks ago. It's already started in Canada. Did you know this? They had registration quite a few years ago, and they were told, don't worry, it's just to keep track of guns. Just keep track. Well, they now are receiving certified letters for certain rifles and semi-automatic weapons to be turned in. They either to be proven that they've been destroyed or they have to be turned in. And if they're not, they're going to be considered to be felons. We have anti-Second Amendment bills that have been, now you heard about Colorado. Colorado passed about 24 of these bills. Did you know that the Vice President of the United States called 6 Democratic reps who weren't going to vote in favor of this and twisted their arms and actually had them change their vote before they voted? This is the Vice President of the United States calling up state reps to get them to vote. The state of Missouri and Minnesota have similar, well, they're both similarly written bills that basically say that they're going to actually confiscate semi-automatic rifles and high-capacity magazines, or you have to remove them from the state if you don't turn them in. And if these bills do pass, after 90 days, you haven't done this, you'll be a Class C felon. I mean, this is absolute madness, but this is the stuff. And by the way, I'm an equal opportunity critic. I wouldn't care, and most of you who know me know this, if Republicans were doing this garbage, I would be up here just as angry at them. It doesn't make any difference to me anymore. Okay, what you have, though, is 100% of these bills are submitted by Democrats, and it's the same thing going on in the state of New Hampshire. Take a look at California, New York, New Jersey. But they're standing up, and I'll tell you, there are a lot of angry people that were here from New Jersey, angry because of what's going on in New Jersey. They were here on the 31st, and some of them were in our own state house listening to what was going on a couple days ago. People are incensed. I saw the our veterans raise their hands. Could you raise your hands again, our veterans out here? I want a round of applause for all of these people. They're the reason for your big reason for a lot of your collective freedoms. I have a message, though, to all of our active duty military and, of course, our veterans. All of us have taken the same oath. We took an oath to protect and defend the Constitution from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. That oath didn't end the day I left the military. I know that most of you, if not all of you, feel exactly the same way as I do. Amen, brother. It is time now to have the conversation with your active duty sons, daughters, friends, family, relatives. The day is going to come, and it's not that far away. The day is going to come where they're going to have to make a decision. That decision has to be to protect and defend the Constitution. And you are not obligated to obey an illegal order. And an illegal order is an order that would request confiscation of our weapons. Law enforcement. This is highly critical. This issue, as far as I'm concerned, is equally as important as our military. Our sheriffs across the country, a lot of them are standing tall. You've seen what they're doing. They're sending letters. They're telling the president, no way, we're not going to obey any law you would put down. In fact, we'll arrest anybody that comes into our state. We'll arrest them if they try to fight. Our sheriffs. In this state, we have 10. We have got to get them to also reaffirm that. They put out a group submission, and we have it here. We didn't read it today. It needs to be much stronger, folks. They have to be able to stand before the public and say, we will not honor any law that infringes upon our Second Amendment rights to keep and bear arms, period. State troopers, local law enforcement. It is critically important that all of us have conversations with them. My dad was a 30-year fireman in Winchester, Massachusetts, and the police station was hooked right onto the fire station. And that was fun. You should have seen those folks going at it. But that's a different story. But seriously, folks, the local police departments, the state police, our law enforcement, you got to talk to them. I know most of you know police officers and some of the chiefs. You got to have a cup of coffee with them. This day's coming. Well, they've got to back us up. You know, we're the best resource they have. Damn right. We're the ones that will back them up as long as they back us up. Damn right. Work for us. That's important. Make sure that you do that. You know, in this country, integrity used to matter. Honesty and integrity are severely lacking right now in Washington, D.C. Here, here. We have a president that stands up and lies, implicitly lies to everyone. Almost everything in his State of the Union address turned out to be fact-checked to be a lie. And he gets away with it. Nobody does a thing about it. Teflon president. I want to remind our state legislators, you took an oath of office. That oath of office was to do the same thing that we in the military did. It was to protect and defend the Constitution from all enemies, foreign and domestic, and also to uphold the Constitution of the state of New Hampshire. Right. If one of the first things you do when you take office is submit a bill that violates that oath, you have no right to be there, in my view. As far as I'm concerned, you should be removed. I'm deadly serious. If you can't honor your oath, if you violate your oath, then you shouldn't have been elected. We made a big mistake. Get the hell out. We talk a lot about the reasons for the Second Amendment. Certainly we all know it's not about hunting. Certainly we do know a lot of it is, of course, about self-defense. We have the right to defend ourselves wherever we have the right to be, period, by any means necessary. But the real reason for the Second Amendment is so that we, the American citizens, would have the opportunity, if the occasion arose, and it's getting close, to throw off an oppressive and tyrannical government. And the only way you can do that, the only way, is to have compatible weapons. That's why we need semi-automatic weapons. That's why we need high-capacity magazines. And by God, we're not giving them up to anybody. the Second Amendment, we will have lost our republic. That is how important this is. It protects the Constitution of the United States of America. We will not allow anyone to infringe any longer on our right to keep and bear arms. Today, I ask all of you, to start thinking about this. We have got to start blurring the R and the D beside people's names and realize, please realize, that we are all Americans. We are all Americans first and foremost, and by God, we have got to start acting like it once again.
United we stand.
Yes, we do. We have the most divisive president I have ever seen in my lifetime. He intentionally is dividing this country by race, by religion, by economic strata, and now guns versus no guns. It's all intentional. It is. Ladies and gentlemen, we can't be lemmings. You've got to start paying attention. You don't have to believe a thing I say. Every one of you has the ability to do your own research. And anyone who listens to this will be on YouTube. Do your own homework. Start realizing that you're being taken for a ride. Everybody that's out there, I think, has had a tax increase in their paychecks. I would tend to think it wasn't just 1%. He told everybody, oh no, it's only going to be 1 or 2%. No, 77%. No, every one of these people got lied to. It's time you realize you're getting lied to. You know, I look back and I remember so vividly Ronald Reagan. To me, in my lifetime, he was the greatest president we've had. I never missed one of his speeches. Why? This man truly loved this country. He believed in America. And he got up there when he spoke. You knew it. It was emotional with this man. He brought us all together. He united this country. I won't listen to this president speak anymore. I start yelling at the television. Oh, my wife, and she doesn't deserve it. I mean, it's just that bad. I can't stand it. It's awful.
Like looking at a car wreck. He's revulsive. I don't have the time for him anymore.
You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm seeing a movement sweeping the country. And it makes me think, and it really does, about the time when Admiral Yamamoto, after the sneak attack on Pearl Harbor, was approached by one of his senior officers. The senior officer said to Yamamoto, congratulations, Admiral, on a great victory. And he looked very stoically and seriously at this senior officer. There was no joy in his face. And he said to him, all I think we have done is awakened a sleeping giant and filled it with great resolve. You are that sleeping giant, and it is our responsibility to make sure we preserve our republic. And by God, we're going to do it. We are not going to tolerate one more day of this infringement on our rights to the Constitution and our right to keep and bear arms. I ask for this Congress to start impeachment proceedings against this president tomorrow. And I ask all of you to stay invested in your country. Spend time doing the research. Get active. Get organized. Let's be vigilant, but let's be brave. And let's make sure the sacrifices that have been made on all of your behalves, let's not let those be in vain. So many people have paid such a terrible price. Thank you all for coming out today. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.